Um, these days I've been on this bent of truth and like, what truth is and stuff like that. So the last video I made, I talked about truth being kind of, you know, um, more complex. And I'm sure, there are feminists and there are postmodernists that would kind of, if any of them actually watch these videos and think about the things some loser says, um, they would definitely kind of think of complexity as basically meaning highly subjective. And I'm sure that's a common thought. I'm not saying anything original here. I think there's a subjectivity that postmodernism and the modern age has given us, um, and which I find completely false and misleading. I don't know why exactly that happened. And as I have a BFA. I have a degree in fine arts and the postmodernism, as Michio Kakutani actually kind of advocates for in terms of validity, is relevant in the artistic realm, but not necessarily relevant in the realm of the context of science, or the context of I mean, postmodernism is actually, and as an artist, I see it. I see the relevance of basically creative thinking and hyper creative thinking, but I find that when it kind of runs amok when you try to apply it to things that are beyond the subjectivity of human thinking. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't actually apply. And I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Like I'm saying, there was an article I read along with a whole bunch of other articles that I've read. But Michio Kakutani, who was the book reviewer for the New York Times or the New Yorker, I think, I forget now, but um, very powerful, big influence and stuff. Anyway, point being is like, along with all the other stuff I've read, I think there is a validity to postmodernist thinking. There is a validity to thinking of things as being very subjective. But just maybe in the realm of the arts. But when it comes to the way the world works, I think we should all pay much more attention to uh, critical thought, and research and things like that. So um, so yeah, that's all I think. But the idea of truth, just coming back to truth and all this stuff, like I mean, it's definitely something we should approach in a way that is very centrist, that is very without bias, without sort of pathological or pathologies. Like we should definitely think about things that are outside of what it is to have a pathology, or have a very anthropic understanding of what the world is. Like I mean, we really should, and this kind of like ties into the whole, new understanding, like like I mean, in a pretentious way, it kind of ties into like the Brett Kavanaugh Ford debacle, right? Like I mean, um, we should re-examine what it is to be male, what it is to be female. Like we should, and not maybe even re-examine, but basically actually pay more attention to what those things are, as opposed to these repression stories and these oppression stories of the turn of the century and 60s and things like that. I mean, those things had value, obviously, and it's fresh in the memory. As a gay man, like I understand the freshness of that thinking and the sprightness of that thinking. Like I do get it, but on some level, we should kind of try to liberate ourselves from liberate tute me, right? We should liberate ourselves from the 60s, which is kind of an oxymoron, but yeah, you know what? I'm gonna end this video now because I'm getting this like weird like thing going on, and I have to end it now. Okay, bye.